Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Welcome
Yes.
to Soul Rising. This is episode 26.
26.
We're excited to be here. We missed you. We missed each other. We hadn't seen each other for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't seen Amy in a while, so this is really nice.
So I was really excited to do this morning. I hope that you guys are excited to hear what we have to talk about today.
Yeah. For those wondering, I was just sick with COVID.
Yeah.
But we're all better. I might have you might hear the sniffles, so I just apologize about that.
But that's okay. That's okay.
Otherwise, I'm so excited to talk about all things spirit because Amy was sharing some things with me that I think she's going to share with you guys too, and I'm excited to hear more details.
Yeah, because we haven't even caught up. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about, I think the umbrella, it's going to be about mindfulness, with, some chats about dreams and the awareness of dreams, interpretation of dreams, as well as the importance of mindset, but under the umbrella of mindfulness, which I think is something that we could all use a reminder about.
Yeah.
Always, but maybe especially now, like with lots going on and busyness, and I always find this time of year like super busy anyways.
It tends to, like, I don't know if if you feel the same way. It tends to be quiet. I mean, for me at least, and towards the end of April, sort of early May, and then like mid-May, it just like boom, picks back up again. There's for me, there's a bit of a dip, and then it just like gets busy.
June is usually busy too, I find.
Yeah. June, July.
Yeah.
Even August. August actually is pretty busy.
Yeah. And then you go right into the busyness of fall and Christmas. So yeah. This just kind of takes me back to when I think about, following cues from Mother Nature and how, when it gets cold and winter comes, that we are really traditionally, not just in our society, but also spiritually, we're meant to really slow down and hibernate and do all those things so that we can keep it up for the rest of the year. Because if we really sat down and thought about how busy certain times of the year tend to be, we really need that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to burn yourselves out either. And I always say to people, like, if you don't take care of yourselves, then you're no good for yourself or anybody else.
Well, that is an interesting segue into what I was going to talk about, because I've been having some stuff going on, like health-wise, and I guess maybe we can start with the dream thing, because it really ties into what you just said.
I'm living for this dream. I haven't even heard your dream.
Yeah, and it's also Taurus season, and I think Taurus season traditionally has a lot to do with like your body and how you treat your body, and like being mindful and aware of your body. So it's interesting, like that a couple of things have shown up for me, and then with Erin getting sick, right? And then with me having some like random things happen that have to do with my body and my health, and it's like, okay, like I am hearing the message loud and clear.
I hear you. Yep.
So it all started about 2 weeks ago. I got a really bad toothache out of nowhere. It just came on. It was just like, it went from like 0 to 100 very quickly. And I'm like, oh no, because I hadn't been to the dentist through COVID. So it had been like pre-2020. Now I am admittedly somebody that I'm going to say, maybe formally, we'll hear the story, formally had a lot of dental anxiety. Same. And it's partly because of, in the past, not having the most aligned dentist, perhaps, not advocating for myself.
Yeah.
All of these things mixed together as they cause some ickiness around the feelings about the dentist. So I had this toothache, kept hearing from my own intuition, my own guides, like, get your butt in there. Don't let this go. Get your butt in there. And also I couldn't not get my butt into the dentist because the pain was pretty bad. Like I was
You
I
reached a
was
point
in
where it was like, I have to. Yeah.
I like, have you ever had a toothache where you don't even want to open your mouth to talk because you're just kind of like talking
It's
around
in so much
because it
pain.
hurts, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to eat, and it was just like, can't live with this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I called and I was able to get in last week where they kind of took a look, and they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to need a root canal. Now, anybody's had a root canal before, it's not really that fun. It's like a 2-hour procedure.
That's
And
putting it lightly. Yeah.
I have
Not
had
fun.
one before, like many, many, many years ago. And
Yeah.
I remember it. Remember it was not fun. So I'm like, okay. And initially they said they weren't able to get me in until the last day of May. And I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know if I can last
I
it.
can't.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do that. And so they were able to squeeze me in with an appointment yesterday. So thank the Lord. So I had a week
Yeah.
of antibiotics and taking Advil every 4 hours for a week, which wasn't fun either.
No.
And like when we say we were like down and out last week,
We were,
we
it
really
hit us.
were.
Amy and I joked about this, but we were like, wow, when we go, when we do something, we don't just half-ass anything. We go all in,
Yes. And that's
even
been a
with
running
sickness.
joke with us too, because we've like, because I'm somebody that's very all or nothing. So it's like, no
Yeah.
half asses here, like just full ass. It was like it totally
The
came
full
back.
ass.
Yeah, we're just gonna like fall
Sorry.
apart fully. So yeah, so that happened. And I've had a lot of dental anxiety, as I said, because of previous experiences.
Yeah.
And so I felt that, and I was like kind of in that mental loop of replaying things over and over again. The invasive thoughts of like what it's going to feel like and how bad it's going to hurt, and like worst case scenarios would play through my mind, right? Which is what happens when we're nervous of something or anxious, or we have previous experiences that didn't go great and then we have to do it again. That's a normal thing, right? So I want to normalize that and say that that's a normal thing for us to experience. But what I tried to do this time, I kept feeling like I needed to practice what I preached. So every single time that one of those little invasive thoughts would come in and be like, oh my God, this is going to hurt so much. You're going to be stuck there for hours. It's going to be so uncomfortable. You're going to feel panicky, because in the past I have felt panicky because like, there's stuff covering all your mouth. You feel like you can't swallow. It just invokes like ickiness in me. And I was replaying that over and over in my head. So I consciously and with intent chose every time that one of those thoughts came in that I was going to switch it to gratitude. I was going to focus on gratitude, which I know sounds very cheesy. And even in the moment, I was like, oh, this is ridiculous, right? It feels silly. It feels silly when you do it. So every time I had a thought like that, I'd say, in my mind, I'd say, I am so grateful that I have dental insurance. I am so grateful that I have a dentist.
Yep.
I'm so grateful that this can be repaired and the tooth does not have to be pulled. I am so grateful that the pain will be over in just a few more days.
Yeah.
And I said that to myself every single time I had an invasive thought. And again, I felt ridiculous doing it. I felt silly, and I felt like this isn't going to do anything, but I still did it.
Yeah.
And after a few days, it actually it's interesting because we always talk about how it's like repetition and consistency. After a few days, it was like I went on autopilot to that place whenever I had a invasive thought. So that was interesting to me. I'm going to experiment with that more because maybe eventually it will happen. So it happens immediately.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm definitely going to experiment with that more. So yesterday I had this procedure. And interestingly enough, I woke up with the mindset, let's do it. Today is the day. Today is the day. No more pain.
No more pain.
Which was a complete shift. If you were following me on Instagram and you saw my stories last week compared to yesterday, it was very different energy and mindset about the dentist. And then I went, and I felt really good energy from the dentist. I really liked him. I thought he was very gentle and kind, had good vibes, I will say. And they had Netflix, they gave me Bluetooth headphones. I watched 5 episodes of The Good Place. And I literally
what a great show to watch too.
I love The Good Place. Yeah.
I love The Good Place.
Yeah, I love The Good Place. I love Kristen Bell. Like, I just think she's hilarious.
She's really
and I was actually focused and engaged in the episode as if, I was at home watching TV. It was so bizarre to me.
Mm.
I felt very relaxed, like I definitely knew they were doing stuff, but it was almost as if I was able to detach myself from it
Yeah, which
mentally.
is huge. Yeah, absolutely.
Like when people talk about removing themselves or out of body, or like,
Yeah.
just imagine that you're kind of like not experiencing that, or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
I felt that. And so like they even said to me, "You're quite relaxed, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I really don't know what the heck's going on here. Like I am really relaxed." And I actually paid attention and I watched 5 shows. It wasn't just like it was in the background.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, and I came home and I was like really pretty amazed.
Yeah.
Really pretty amazed. I'm like, that actually worked. That actually worked. And then it made me think about a past experience. In 2016, I had to so postpartum, I realized that I started to have gallbladder issues with a lot. It's very common actually in women, because hormones are one of the main leading causes of gallbladder attacks, which I
Yeah,
didn't
I can
know
see
before
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, postpartum started having that happen
Oh.
and was booked in for surgery when my baby was 9 months old. And
Mm,
leading up to it was like very anxious about that, being away from him. And I was a nursing
just
mom and all
fair.
those things
Yeah.
because I had to go under. And I had this experience with a medium a few months before, in which she kind of was like tapping into future-based events for me that have since come to fruition, that didn't really make sense at the time, right? But
Hmm. Yeah.
future-based things like when you're in your 40s,
Yeah. Yeah.
certain things like that. And the night before the procedure, I was thinking about those things. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to be fine. It's not like I'm going to die in this procedure. I'm not going to die on the table. I'm not going to die post-op because I have a future. And,
Switch the
I've been
mindset.
shown it. And
Hmm.
so that morning I woke up and I didn't really have any nerves. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's get it over with.
Mm.
And even I remember my husband go, "Whoa, like you were so scared last night." And so it just, that came up to me last night when I was reflecting. Oh, I've experienced this before, but I kind of like didn't keep it up. So
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of intention, which is what we're going to talk about, being mindful of those things. But I wanted to share that because it was just such a huge thing for me. And I know that whether it's dental anxiety or anxiety about something else or being fearful of something else, or just kind of maybe having a negative
Yeah.
taste or experience
Which
for
is we're
something,
human. We're
we're human.
human.
We that is relatable to everybody.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share it because however you can fit that into your life, I just maybe ask you to experiment with that yourself.
Yeah. I think
Just,
that's so true.
yeah, like, no, it might feel silly. No, your ego is going to be like, this is doing nothing. Like, you are ridiculous. Do it
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. Just do it.
Because it can't harm you to try, right?
No.
And
That's
it
yeah.
might just work.
Yeah.
And if you can feel relaxed about a situation that previously would have caused you like a panic attack,
Hmm.
then why not? Like, why not?
Yeah.
And
Why can't you do the opposite for yourself?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It reminds me, Erin, when we were talking in the last episode about assigning power to things.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, like, we talk about that so much, that when we assign something power, when we give something power, right, it gives it meaning,
Yeah.
right? And it's putting that energy out there. And so when you're thinking constantly, oh, this is gonna be awful, 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 or if you're like, I've had something not so great happen to you that day, and you're like, oh, this is a bad day, and then all of a sudden, oh, something else happens, you're like, this is a really bad day.
Yes.
It's because
Yeah.
you're just putting that. I
Mhm.
really believe you're putting that energy out there,
Mhm.
right? And it's hard and it's not easy. And I don't think Amy and I are like, if we're saying to not welcome those thoughts, because I think those thoughts are good. I actually think they allow us to be aware,
That's
right?
right.
It's just a self-awareness.
Yeah.
And when you can kind of catch those thoughts and say, hang on a sec, because I do this. I like, I'm known for my anxiety. Like I'm an
Yeah.
anxious bunny.
Yeah.
And sometimes I even do this thing. I don't know if you've ever done this, Amy, or if you've experienced this in some form, maybe with what your mindfulness was, but it makes me think of, if I'm feeling anxious about something, sometimes I'll actually say to my guides, am I really, do I have reason to be anxious right now? And I find more often than not, as soon as I ask or I put that out there to somebody, the universe, right? I am overcome with this wave of love and calmness immediately.
Do you know what that reminds me
Immediately.
of? Is like when I think about our guides and I've read things, or when even we've seen movies where there's like guardian angels or like whatever it is that
Yeah.
you want to call that they are with you to help you,
Yeah.
and they certainly try to encourage in different ways, but they can't kind of swoop in because we do have free will, and that's like
Yeah.
the contract.
Yeah.
So they have to be asked.
You have to ask them for
We
help.
have to ask them
Yeah.
for help, and then they will help. That reminds me of this. I pulled this card. I've been keeping it on my desk for the last week. It's the prayer card from the Earthcraft Oracle. I
Mhm.
pulled this kind of asking for guidance about a certain situation and got this. And in the guidebook, kind of gave this advice, encouragement to not only think about what it is that you need in this moment, but also to write it down, like write an actual letter to your spirit team. So I wrote down, I wrote, dear
I
spiritual
think that's a
team,
really good
and I laid
idea.
it out very clearly. This is what I need help with.
Yeah.
Um, and that kind of just, it's almost just like an extra intent in some way. Like it's like shows commitment. Like
Yeah.
whenever we write something down, you think about signing something, how it just shows commitment in any way, like with a marriage license or like
Energy.
whatever. You're committing to it with that signature.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there as advice as well, because I've been doing that all week about
I think
different
that's
things.
really a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
It's
that's an
like
excellent idea.
not just thinking of it and feeling it, but write it down, like
Write it
ask
down.
for help. I love how it's all connected. And then this card came up for me too. These are like unrelated to today's energy, but I feel like somebody might want to hear it. I've been keeping these present. So this is from the what is it? Work Your Light Oracle.
Mm.
Keepers of the earth, you're not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So I pulled the prayer card. They told me to like send my prayers to my spiritual team. And then I felt
And
like I needed
then
to pull
you
another card, and I got this. I was like,
and
okay.
then you got that.
So I've been keeping that on my desk all week, and I probably will for like a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I just think that's so interesting, and how that's all tied in together.
Yeah.
Mindfulness, like I explained it as an umbrella, and I truly believe that it can encompass everything in our life.
No, I agree.
There's a reason that like mindfulness is kind of like a thing now.
Yeah.
I know some of us are like, ew, it's popular now. I know. It's like, I don't want to go there. Everybody's doing it, but there's a reason. Mindfulness it will help us like individually and collectively,
Yeah. It's
because
bringing that awareness
bringing an awareness in.
within,
Yeah.
right? And
Because
when
we've been
you're
running on autopilot for centuries and we've been detached.
Oh, I mean, I remember like I honestly there would be times when years when I was going to school before COVID, right? I would get on that bus and like I just remember commuting cuz transit and I for some reason it was like you would just be on autopilot and then the next thing I know I'm like, "Oh, I'm at school." Like
I
I'm
know.
here.
Like, how did it
I'm
get there?
in class. It's a weird thing. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced that when you're just like go somewhere and then all of a
Yes,
sudden you have this moment of like, I got here. Like, did I
I
just
have.
leave my body? Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Because you're just
Yeah.
running on an autopilot. And so when we're self-aware, when we do these things, these like maybe even a simple mindfulness exercise, right? Somebody once told me that mindfulness can even be, I'm taking this mug and I'm aware that I'm holding this mug,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to take a sip of water and I'm going to actually like feel the coolness going
Yeah.
down. You go through all of the steps and you bringing it back
Yes.
within. Not only I find is that a good tool to help with like anxiousness,
Mm-hmm.
but also just about bringing that awareness more within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often use that word intention. Like I remember doing a group reading once, and I connected to, the person's sister in spirit. And I said, she keeps bringing through the word intention or intentional, intentional, intentional. And I saw like a little smile creep up. She didn't say anything. And I said, it's like she's being silly about it. Like she's saying, Like you can intentionally shave your legs. You can intentionally make your coffee. Like you
Yeah.
can intentionally do anything. And that's what she's really encouraging you to do right now. And she said, I have to show you this. And she brought up her background on her phone, and it said, be intentional. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, you're definitely tapping into like what you need to hear anyways.
Yeah.
But I've actually tried that. Like, some days where you feel, actually, I did this exercise. I was reading this book, and there was like this guidance in it to think about like your ideal day.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe not even like in your circumstances of right now, but like your ideal any day. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Who's there, what's happening. And I did this, and then I really looked at it, and what I saw was the only true difference in that ideal day and my current was that everything was done kind of slowly and with intention.
Oh,
That was it.
wow.
That was
Yeah.
it. And I was like, but the feeling and the energy of it was like calm, and like it felt good, and it felt
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. And it just brings me back to that feeling, like, when you think about like, you get that kind of good feeling. Sometimes you go to bed and you're like, today was a good day. And you just kind of feel almost excited. You're
Yeah.
like, nothing happened today. Like, why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
I've like dug into that feeling at times, and I've realized that on those days, it's because I've done something really purposely, or like really been in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what made the
That's
difference.
huge. Yeah. Yeah,
That was the
exactly.
difference between a really like memorable, this feels amazing day, even though
Yeah.
nothing really
Nothing
happened,
really happened.
compared to any other day.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you just said that too, because I had the opposite not the opposite, okay, but experience just the other day where I was like, it's been a lot. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I looked at Alex and I said, "We're going to have a good day today. It's gonna be a good day." And I played that song. I forget who the artist is, but I was like, "Gonna have a good
Yeah.
day, and all my hoes gonna ride it." You know that song.
Yeah.
So I played it in the morning, and I said, "You know what? Today is a good day. It's a good day."
It is.
And I found that even that was, speaking of mindfulness, was a mindfulness trick, right? As a way to sort of just set yourself up that you're gonna have a good day today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I know that this might sound kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I think, like, I've actually heard from people before. Yeah, but when people talk about mindfulness and the power of our own thoughts,
sounds
it,
woo
it
woo.
well, not just that, but it can feel triggering to
Oh,
some
okay.
people, right? And
Yeah.
I understand that, because I've been in a place
Yeah.
before, many years ago, where that would have felt very triggering, because
Yeah.
I would
I
have
can see
said,
that.
okay, but you don't know what my day's like, and you don't know what
Yes.
experience I've had, and it's
Yes.
felt triggering to me. But I've been in that place, okay, and now I have the awareness of how powerful my thoughts are. So we're not saying that you're not going to experience shitty days or shitty people or shitty experiences. This
Yeah.
is life. We all will.
Yes.
It's about how much are you going to allow that to be soaked into
To be the
you.
driving force for your
Yes.
life. Yeah.
Yes. And it's not to say that that is not, that is
It's
crappy
not,
or not
yeah.
fair or like whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. You
Your
have a
feelings are
right. Your
valid.
feelings are
And
valid.
yes.
100%. However, I do believe that ultimately
Hmm.
you are in charge of how you feel.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
when you can get to a place where you can, you know, have all this crap happen to you and still not allow it to change how you feel about you,
Hmm.
that's when you know you've grown. And I think
Yeah.
like some of these tools that we're giving you help, baby steps to get to that place where you're
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
It's not a fix all, right? It's not a
No.
fix all, but I definitely believe, and that's what like sometimes therapy is, right? Therapy is about bringing it within,
Yeah.
asking, maybe asking you questions that maybe normally, or not even therapy, maybe having a mentor or somebody
Yeah.
that,
A good
a good
friend.
friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, having somebody asking you maybe questions you wouldn't have normally thought of, or giving you, which is what I think our goal with readings is, not so much, we're going to prove to you that this is real, even though, like, yes, I would love that for you, for all of my clients.
Yeah.
I would love that for everybody, you know. But it's more so to offer you a different perspective.
Yeah.
Different perspective, right? I mean, I'm not saying I'm a therapist, but I'm just saying meant to just offer you a different perspective on things.
Safe. I always say this is a safe, confidential space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not meant to be a replacement for therapy, but if you feel comfortable and safe, you can at least be open to hearing a different perspective or something, food for thought, things to think about.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's all. That's all
that's it.
that I feel like readings are for folks.
No,
You
you were
know.
talking about being on autopilot and like almost being like, how did I get to school? This
Yeah.
reminded me of, I think it was in the beginning of 2021, I want to say. I feel like it was because it was the anniversary of my dad's passing, and he passed in January. So I had gone for a walk in like my neighborhood local like trail,
Yeah.
and there's part of the trail that kind of opens up, and there's like a pond kind of thing. And I felt like I needed to stop here for a moment. So I stopped, and I was thinking about my dad, and what was coming through, like what I was hearing was just like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Because what I intended to do was to do like almost like like a 1 minute moment of silence where I thought about him. And so I did that, but my mind was still like
going
thinking about things. And I heard, just stop. Just stop. Don't look at the time. Just stop. Like it was almost like authoritative. And I was like, okay. So I even put my phone away because I was literally recording the moment.
Okay.
Okay. And then I put my phone away, and I was like, okay. And I just stood there, and I like wasn't conscious of the time or anything. And then I went, whoa, like, I don't know what just happened. I feel like I just had a good nap or something. Like I just felt like
Felt a bit more.
And then I did pick up my phone, and like it had only been like 2 minutes, but it felt like much longer. And then I continued walking. And as I was walking, I was like downloading this information that I don't think I've ever shared, because I was going to share it with that video. And then I felt, no, this doesn't need to be shared right now. And
This
for whatever
was a
reason,
moment for
I totally
yourself.
forgot about it until right now. So it must be.
But it's meant to be shared right now.
Yes. So what had come through to me like was, have you ever thought about when you are kind of running on autopilot through your life and just going from A to B, and every day is kind of like the same thing, and you're just running around like that, how time seems to be like slipping through your fingers, and you like there's never enough time. There's never enough time. And then when you actually take 60 seconds of intentionally stopping and not thinking about time, that can feel like forever. Because I remember standing there and going, oh my God, I've had to be standing here for 10 minutes. It was like 2 minutes. It felt like forever. And I thought, oh, so it's not that we don't have enough time. We're just not using our time correctly.
Yeah.
And like, it's not to say that we need to like slow down our lives, because I know that we can't just like slow down and
sometimes
go zen and do all that kind of stuff. But if the intention was even like, I'm just going to sit here for 60 seconds and try not to think about things.
I'm going to take this.
Which is what meditation is, a practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That eventually that brief 60 to 2 minute to 10 minute, whatever you can manage moment, will like rejuvenate you and make you feel like you had a good nap. Like it will make you feel like you do have enough time.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that like was kind of crazy, because I'm like, whoa, I never thought about it that way. Because if you were like doing something, 60 seconds would fly by. You'd be like, where did that go? It would happen like that. But if you think about it, when you're just stopping for a second, doesn't it feel like it crawls on forever?
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that you're bringing that up, because as with all of our podcasts, things just come up, right? Yeah. But it makes me think back to this moment where I literally was like feeling like I didn't have enough time. I was like, I need more time. I need more time. And I think I was probably in a rush to get somewhere. I think that's what it was. And I did this thing where I remember hearing like, okay, just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it did feel like, I'm like looking at my phone, but it did feel like time slowed down a little bit. And I felt like I actually have time. Oh, it's okay. I have time. And I did. I had time. And in my mind, I was like, I gotta go, 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 go.
But you had time.
I had time. I took that, maybe that second or whatever it was, and it did. It slowed down. It wasn't.
That's your perspective. It's amazing because that's a perfect segue into the next episode. So I don't know if we want to like leave it there. I will share more about this dream that I had in the next episode.
Yes.
As well as talk about perceptions and
and things. Should we pull a card?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm excited for these.
I got 4 new decks since last time we spoke. So I have to decide. I got 2 for Mother's Day. I got the Rose Oracle and Woodland Wardens.
I love it.
And then unknowing, like I didn't know I was going to get those. So I had purchased for myself, treated myself to Prairie Majesty
like
Oracle.
One.
I always want to say Majestic, but it's Majesty and the Wild Goddess Oracle. So I'm just like, which deck do I feel?
I feel like I got to get back on my Oracle card game. I haven't gotten a new deck in a while.
I think. Do you have any of Rebecca Campbell's? Do you have Starseed? The Starseed Oracle?
Yes.
Do you like that?
I do. Wait, do I have it? I actually think I gave it away.
Okay, so is that because you didn't love it? I was gonna say I really am loving the Rose Oracle. So
there was a moment where back when I was giving readings, it just felt like in-person readings.
Yeah.
This happened just on occasion, but on occasion I feel like I think I need to give you my tarot deck or my Oracle deck or something. So I would give it to them,
and you did. Okay. I was just like, if you feel called to it, I would highly recommend the Rose Oracle. I really like it.
I do like her, like all the images are so beautiful. Maybe I do still have it. I don't know where it went. Anyways,
if I would suggest that one if you want to treat yourself.
I do like her a lot, actually, and I find her decks, they're not expensive. They're pretty
good. And honestly, I got this on Mother's Day, and it was a beautiful day, and we went out and we went for a walk around the water, and then we came home and I sat outside in the sun for 3 hours and just kind of like chilled and had barbecue served to me. It was amazing. And I read this guidebook and did one of the card spreads. The guidebook, like there's this much write-up.
Yeah.
And then these are the card interpretations. There are 54 pages of kind of like backstory and different things she wants to tell you about before. And it's like a book. I literally sat there for like a good hour and read everything before I even got to the cards. So
I
like that about it too.
Yeah, I do. I like Rebecca. My mom has Rebecca. Shout out Cheryl. Has a Rebecca Campbell Oracle deck.
I'm kind of laughing at the card I pulled. So I pulled from the new Prairie Majesty Oracle, which is what I felt like pulling from. So I'm just gonna get the guidebook out. I don't know if you're ready to go or not.
Yeah, I got it.
You can go first if you want.
Did you say you can go first or me?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. Please.
You're ready.
Yeah. I just have to find it.
Wait. You're gonna laugh.
What card is it?
So it's
what?
It's the River card, okay, and it says soothe on the bottom, and it says, "Am I receiving peace?" Just go. Do you want me to just?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So it says the universal love flow is always going, always flowing, always free. River offers a soothing meditation experience today. She will help you sink into peace and always pools under the surface inside the heart of all that is. You might find this especially helpful if you felt hurt, rushed, or blocked in any way. Get comfortable somewhere private. Close your eyes. Enter into a breathing rhythm. Feels calming to you. Visualize a shallow stream of water running through the prairie. Just talked about me standing by a pond.
Yeah.
Would you like to get in? Lie on your back and relax into the river's bed. Just talks about, the floating, and can you feel your body slowing down?
Nice. Yeah.
You're held by the river on all sides. Allow yourself to experience this deep soothing and peace. As it washes over you, discover that you can breathe inside again. No need to come up for air. Anytime you begin to feel separate from peace, from yourself, and from source, River invites you to return. After all, you are her and she is you, for you are both part of everything. It makes me want to cry as I read that. That is
because
insanely
that's
tapped
literally
in.
what we just talked about.
I'm getting teary. I think it's just because it just validates how connected we are to things, and like how what we're talking about is heard, like what are
Yes,
the
I
odds
think
that I
I
pulled that
totally
card?
agree. But
Because
I love that. Like
yeah,
that. Even when we're giving readings, don't you find that that happens sometimes? You're like, let's just pull a clarification card, and like, boom,
it's
something.
insane.
It's it's
It makes me feel so supported and seen.
it's.
Yeah.
I had a reading the other day, and without getting into specifics, of course, one of the questions was about family. Well, wouldn't you know it? Guess what card pulled out from this deck? And it's the only oracle card I have with and where it says the family.
Wow.
Like I was like, well, as if you didn't need, here we go. This is
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I love it too. It just means we're connected, like
Yeah,
it really does. It just shows that we're being listened to. But I also feel
that's
like
it.
I almost got overcome with the support that I felt in that card. Like the
It's also
peace.
validation for you.
It's also validation that I I can trust myself.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at these cards and I was like, for some reason, I feel like I got to pull this one. And then I pulled the card, and to pull a card that's so connected to what we're just talking about does validate my own intuition. And so it
Yeah.
just, but it just makes me emotional with the support and this happens in almost every podcast we do. When we pull a card, it's like,
Yeah. Yep. I love it.
listening.
I love it. And I always find, Amy, too, whenever I get emotional, that spirit coming in.
Yes, because
Like,
it's the feeling, it felt overwhelming to me. It didn't
yeah.
feel like, oh, I'm sad, I want to cry. It just felt, I
that
feel
love.
overwhelmed right now with a peaceful love feeling, and it makes me want to cry. Yeah, which is what that deck was telling us. That's what it was talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, I love this.
I also love too that people get to hear our reactions in live time about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
we
I
do
hope
this,
everybody
every
enjoys it, because
day.
I enjoy it for
we do it every day, but it's still like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna love this card. I think I really love it because my eyes got drawn to the sun in yours, and it's the central sun card. Mm-hmm. And I'm pulling from Gateway of Light Activation. So I love this card. It says abundance, downloads. This is exactly what we get: regeneration and success. Our sun is the center of our solar system. Solar being the key word. All the planets orbit it. We use this journey to measure time, space, and even our birthday. The sun helps connect with our journey and see how far we've come. It is just far enough away to create the perfect conditions for Earth to become abundant with life. In ancient Greece, the sun was known as Helios. In ancient Egypt, it was Ra. Worldwide, the ancients knew the importance of the sun. The earliest stargazers worshipped it because daily it would disappear over the horizon, leaving the darkness and mystery of night. It was clear that it had governance over life and light, so we learned early on that the sun was needed for us to survive and thrive. The sun is therefore a vital energetic vortex in the physical realm, but on a spiritual level, it is a portal of divine light that we connect with through the inner universe. It's a spiritual gateway representing the center of the multiverse, a sacred energetic portal that radiates infinite inspirational light. Wow.
I especially love the regeneration word because it makes me feel like what we're talking about.
That's what it says. And it goes further on. I'll just read this super quickly. It says, this is a time to regenerate. Tiredness and old energy are being washed away. Old skins have peeled off to reveal a sacred and more aligned you. It's an exciting time. New ideas, opportunities, and experience come easily to you at this time. Like the sun kissing the perfectly ripe soil, the seeds you have planted are being encouraged to grow. I love that.
So perfect, and perfect for this time of year.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love
Yes.
it so much. I love it. It also makes me feel positive about some things that I'm kind of manifesting, but not just manifesting, but have taken action
Yeah.
on.
Yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what these cards, like the prayer and the keepers of the earth, I had pulled that with those kind of desires in mind. And so it makes me feel validated a little bit that maybe those things will come to fruition.
Yeah, and it's also, I always find it's just like a nice little hug from
I
spirit
was
to
just gonna
say,
say,
we hear you.
yeah.
You were good.
Yeah, I really was, because I felt like I got a big, huge hug, and not just
Yeah.
like, the kind of hugs that you like, that last a really long time and like you really feel it.
Yes.
And
Well,
to
there you go. You have extra validation too with the hug,
yeah, yeah. I love
right?
it. This is wonderful. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
Stay tuned for next week, episode 27, where we continue to talk a little bit about just kind of mindfulness, but through the lens of dreams and maybe dreams interpretations, as well
We're
as
gonna get a little, I don't want to say, it's not spooky, but we're gonna get a little spiritual.
a little spirit. Yeah, well, we're always a lot spiritual. We're going to get a lot spiritual when we talk about dreams. We're also going to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde.
Get ready.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.